Welcome to Falls Count Anywhere, where the wrestling ring meets the heart. Hosted by the gentleman Jody Powell, join us as we dive into the latest pro wrestling news and rumors, from the electrifying world of WWE to the inspiring stories of wrestling for Christ. This is your all-access pass to the action, the faith, and the hope. This is Falls Count Anywhere.
Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to Falls Count Anywhere. I am the gentleman Jody Powell, and with me, as always, is my good buddy, my good friend, the mad scientist, Mike Buchanan. Mike, what's going on in the Buchanan lab this week, man?
Well, I always hear these people, Jody. Thanks for the introduction, by the way, and I hope you're having more success with the internet than we were last week.
Much better now. Thank you.
Excellent. But I've been thinking about the environment. Some people are like, well, we're using too much oil and fuel and all that. And so they've come up with the electronic cars, which they don't realize sometimes is using up everything anyway. So remember those wind-up cars we had as children, Jody, way back in the day? Had those little key things looking. You wind them up and they just go. That's what I'm working on for adults.
Okay.
They don't use gas. They don't use electricity. They just wind them up and they just go.
Well, all of mine would wind up and I'd let them go, and they spin around in circles.
Well, that's why I'm working on to improve that.
Guess what you've just created then?
What's that?
A new form of NASCAR, because that's all they do. They go in circles.
Hey, rednecks love that.
The environmentally friendly NASCAR race car. That's pretty good stuff coming out of
running around in circles, huh?
I mean, that's all they do, right? They turn left. They go in circles. I love NASCAR. Please don't send emails. Do send emails, but not fussing at me for that.
Right. Exactly.
Well, buddy, that's awesome. Listen, let's dive in, man. Let's get into the world of the WWE. What's going on there? Then we'll jump out to our good friends over at Wrestling for Christ. We'll talk about that. And then, of course, fans, at the end of the show, as always, our Finding Tomorrow segment. We've got a lot to cover. So what do you say, Mike? You ready to get to it, man?
Always.
Well, let's dive in. Let's jump into the world of the WWE. And here's what I thought we would do. And there's going to be a theme to this show, okay? Because we have had some rough weeks. I mean, let's be honest. We've been going through some trials here, and we've had some technical issues. We've had weather issues. We've experienced personal issues. There are things that have been commemorated with, September being the Suicide Prevention Month. That's such a heavy subject. The theme today is going to be a little bit lighter, Mike. So what I want to know for the WWE is, what is the one thing on Raw and SmackDown that has you intrigued, that keeps you coming back? What's the story? What's the scoop? What's the thing you want to hear? Well, what do you say we start with SmackDown?
Okay, for SmackDown. Oh, so our fans, if they've been watching WWE for a while, will remember RO the Legend Killer. And now we have KO, apparently the face killer. He took out Rhodes in the back. He took out Orton in the ring. So I just like to see more of that. I don't care for Orton or for Owens necessarily as a face, but I do like the idea of certain people just letting loose every now and then, that loose cannon, and just beating people up just to beat people up.
I love that, Mike. Kevin Owens is he's really born to play that role. And it's been a while since we've seen heel KO, right? And I've missed him. Like, I really loved, going back a few years when Chris Jericho was still with the WWE and Kevin Owens was his best friend, and that storyline was so good. Those two were so good together. But then it was so good tearing it apart because Kevin Owens turned on Jericho. It was amazing. It was fantastic. So I love that call. Heel Kevin Owens. We need much, much more of that.
KO RO 2.0.
Yeah, KRO instead of RKO, right? I don't
There
know
you
what the
go.
R for.
Exactly.
I don't know what R stands for Kevin Owens, um, but we could come up with something. And the legend killer Randy Orton is now a legend, and so who's going to come in and be the legend killer of the legend killer. I think Kevin Owens plays that role very, very well. Here's the one thing on SmackDown that has me intrigued as well, and it's probably no surprise because it's the Bloodline reunion. We saw Jimmy come back. We heard a few weeks ago Jimmy say, "We need him. We need him." We all know who him is, and even Roman said, "No yeet." Well, there's going to be yeet. I mean, let's be honest. There's going to be a Jimmy and Jay reunion. There's going to be a Roman and Uso reunion. That formation of the bloodlines coming back together. I got to believe, I got to hope they bring in the honorary Uso as well, Sami Zayn. You can't have that kind of reunion without bringing the honorary Uso in to make it a little Usy. And call me nostalgic if you want, but I'm really looking forward to that. I do think not only from a nostalgic standpoint, it would be great. I do think from a storyline, it could be told really well. And it's interesting. There was some interesting verbiage that was used on SmackDown by Jimmy that he is the only one in the family that still acknowledges Roman. I found that very interesting considering who all is in the family. So that'll be interesting to see if that was just a play on words, where they build from there, how they use that, and where that goes as we probably charge towards what I think is going to be a triple threat main event at WrestleMania between The Rock, Roman Reigns, and Cody Rhodes. My predictions, not a spoiler, just a prediction. Speaking of which, I'd love to see the Wise Man back too. I miss Paul Heyman.
Which side this time, though?
What's that?
Which side?
Oh,
Last
with
time we saw
Roman.
him-
With Roman. No, but no. There's no way that he's going to be put through an announce table by Solo Sikoa and the Tongans and Jacob Fatu and come back and be on their side. No. But that would be such a Heyman thing to do. I don't think it would be good. I don't think it would be smart to do. I mean, I think Paul Heyman comes back and sides with Roman and the Us.
Wait, here's a thought for you, because I honestly don't remember. After we went through the table, have we seen or heard him speak anywhere,
Nope.
social media or otherwise?
Not that I'm aware of.
Here's one for you. As the old mad scientist spins one up, Heyman doesn't come back on the side of Fatu and Solo. But when he went through the table, he hit his head and got a concussion.
Okay.
Paul E. dangerously comes back.
Only if he brings the brick phone.
Absolutely.
And the ponytail.
Go back to the prop department, put a wig on him, put the skull cap, the ball cap, whatever you want to call it.
But who does he come back with?
Solo.
Oh.
There's another bloodline member, I understand, that was wrestling in Japan. I don't have his name off the top of my head.
Yep. I mean, neither do I. Can't think of it off the top of my head.
Kaloa, maybe something like that.
Yeah. Maybe. I'm almost. I'm kind of new personed out with it. Let's get to feuding. Let's get it on. Let's get the reunion back together. All right. What about Raw? What's keeping you?
Raw.
What's? No. That was
I did do Raw.
Yeah. What's bringing you to Raw?
That wasn't that Breaker? Or was that SmackDown? I'm
Breaker.
losing it.
Breaker was what I think what you had for Raw, right? Anything Braun Breaker.
Anything Braun Breaker. SmackDown. More LA Knight, I think.
Okay.
Move him up.
All right.
Somehow find a way to put him in the world title mix.
Well, I had Bloodline there. You had heel turn KO. Now you've got a little bit of LA Knight too, and anything Breaker. I'm all about this New Day split. Split them up. Split them up. Let's make it happen. It's dragging on too long. Let's see it. I am loving Xavier Woods as a heel. I really am, and I don't necessarily need to see a big feud between Kofi and Xavier. I just need to see more Xavier Woods being bad Xavier Woods. That's what
bad, or is he just a klutz?
No, he's got to go bad. I mean, he's got to turn legit heel.
Absolutely.
It can't be anything but that. So fans, we'd love to hear what has you coming back to Raw and SmackDown. So I tell you what, why don't you send us an email, and I'm going to put the email right here on the screen. Send us an email. Tell us what you're most excited about, what you can't wait to see on Raw and SmackDown coming up over the next few weeks. And who knows, we might even talk a little bit about that on the air. So send us an email, fallscountanywhere323@gmail.com, and let us know what you're excited to see. Well, we'll do the same thing, Mike. What do you say we'll do the same thing for WFC when we come back after these messages? Hello, wrestling fans. The Gentleman Jody Powell here. Are you searching for an engaging speaker for your next church event, civic meeting, industry conference, or a company-wide motivational session? Well, look no further. I'd be honored to bring energy, insight, and inspiration to your event. With experience as a 2022 Toastmasters World Championship of Public Speaking semifinalist, I know how to connect with audiences, both large and small. Whether it's an intimate gathering or a packed auditorium, I'll deliver a memorable and impactful message tailored to your needs. Visit today at www.jodypowellspeaks.com to explore my keynotes, talks, and trainings. Let's make your next event unforgettable. Book me today. You'll be glad you did. Welcome back, fans, to Falls Count Anywhere, and we're going to dive right into the world of Wrestling for Christ that can be seen right here on Abundant TV. Saturday night Praise and Power Hour every Saturday night at 6 p.m. with a replay the following Thursday at 9 p.m. And Mike, we got to ask the same question here with the WFC, buddy. What is the one thing in Wrestling for Christ on Saturday night Praise and Power Hour that just has you intrigued, that leaves you wanting more?
Well, I always appreciate it for the messages, but as far from a pure wrestling standpoint, who ran over AWOL?
I did it for The Rock.
Yeah,
I don't think it was Rikishi.
I heard that might have been another partner in the Bloodline storyline, but I digress.
Probably.
I was just thinking, just on the wild side, purely wild booking side.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think y'all have had a really good tag team split. What if the person that ran over AWOL was actually the other member of AWOL?
Well, I wouldn't put it past that guy. Let me just tell you. Now, I've been admonished to stick to unbiased journalism by the new commissioner, whoever that is. But I got to tell you,
commissioner. Wait, but Bobby the Brain Heenan's dead. She was all about unbiased journalism.
Oh yeah, unbiased. Yeah, I've got some brain power working on this one. No pun intended. But honestly, yeah, AWOL number one is just not one of my favorite people in the world. And he and I have not seen eye to eye. He's put his hands on me twice now in the ring, and twice too many. But, that's an interesting thought. Did he take out his own partner? When it comes to who did it, that who shot JR moment, I think a lot of people are looking at the foundation and just wondering, because, it was the foundation that was attacked by AWOL in the back that caused them to lose the titles to AWOL. And then all of a sudden, AWOL was attacked, causing AWOL to lose the titles back to the foundation. Now, they've denied any involvement in it, but they haven't been shy about saying how they've enjoyed it. They've enjoyed what's happened and the consequences and kind of seeing things come around. I just don't see Dylan Dollar and Travis Roberts being the ones who did this.
No, I don't either.
I can't see it. AWOL number one has accused everyone from the Sawyer brothers to Shane Austin to the foundation to me. Why I'd have okay. But I just don't think that's. I just don't see Dylan and Travis being involved. They reap the benefits of it. They're the new tag team champs. They've been champs for a few weeks now as a result of it. But I don't think they caused it. It'll be interesting to see this week coming up on Saturday Night Praise and Power Hour, Mike. The new commissioner is promising some evidence. And I'm anxious to see what that evidence is and what kind of implications that can make. I'm also a little nervous.
You should be. And here's why.
Tell me why.
I understand the new commissioner hired a dog and his owner, another gentleman, and two ladies that drive around in a really weirdly painted mystery machine to try and get to the bottom of this for y'all. So, take no
Raggy.
salt.
Well, I don't know if the mystery machine is going to show up or not, but here's why I'm nervous.
It's already shown up.
Has it? Yeah, well, there's something weird about kids that have been in high school for 40 years driving around solving mysteries, but with a talking dog. But what's interesting? What's that?
You were about to say, here's why you're nervous?
Well, here's why I'm nervous is because there's going to be this evidence presented. I don't know what it is, and I don't know how it's going to be presented. I haven't been given any prep or any kind of I'm just showing up for the show on Saturday, and who knows what's going to happen and who knows what it is. I'm afraid, though, that if this evidence comes out and AWOL number one is able to see and hear and understand what the evidence is and it implicates someone, I'm afraid we're going to have ourselves a security issue, because AWOL number one is looking not only for answers, he's looking to hurt someone. And so whoever it is or whatever it is, we could have a situation on our hands. So I hope the new commissioner, and I don't know if they watched this show or not, they should, but I hope the new commissioner is thinking about that as they are releasing this evidence out there. Now, here's the one thing, Mike, that keeps me coming back to WFC. And I've got it right here, my friend. Yes, sir. The mysterious briefcase that is the prize for the 16-man television turmoil tournament. And I just want to open the briefcase so bad, but I'm not allowed to. I don't know what's in here. It's heavy. It's very heavy. But that could all be a ploy. It could be a trick. It could be something, it could be a contract in there. It could be money. It could be it could be anything. I don't even know. It could be something bad. You never know. But there's going to be a 16-man tournament for the briefcase. And just this week on Saturday Night Praise and Power Hour, 4 names were released that are going to be entrants into this tournament. John Matthews, Zachariah Cutter, Chris Thunder Anderson, and Kenny Austin. The first 4 names entered into the 16-man tournament that we don't even have dates for yet. We don't even know when this is going to happen, Mike.
Well, that just keep things interesting. Just that surprise element of when's it start?
And I'm assuming it's a traditional tournament. I'm assuming that we're going to have, brackets with 8 and 8 and 4 and 4 and 2 and 2 that come together with a final like you would, March Madness or whatever it is. But maybe I shouldn't assume that. I don't know. Maybe this is a bunkhouse style tournament where it's all happening at once. I don't know. So many things are left to the imagination here, which makes it very interesting, but it also makes it very aggravating because I'm the type of person, I got to know. I want to know the details. Give me the scoop. Give me the details. Let me know the whole story so that I can tell the story. But the only story I've got is that we're having a television turmoil tournament. 4 names have been entered into this 16-man tournament, and the winner gets whatever's in the briefcase. All of this concocted by this new commissioner who we have no idea who they are.
Maybe let's just do it that they did at Kings Mountain and have a battle royal. What could possibly go wrong?
I mean, we've seen it with with absolutely King of the Mountain for the WFC title. We saw that, but who knows what's going to happen here? Who knows what this new commissioner has in store for Wrestling for Christ? Not only with the television turmoil tournament, but with some of these other things like the AWOL investigation that you talked about. Well, fans, we'll be right back after these messages with one of my favorites, Finding Tomorrow, right here on Falls Count Anywhere. We'll be back right after this. Oh, hello, wrestling fans. The gentleman Jody Powell here. And I can't tell you how much I love this devotional written by my partner on Falls Count Anywhere, the mad scientist, Mike Buchanan. He wrote this book called Feeling Down, Look Up. You want to get your copy today? It's on Amazon. So you're going to want to search for Feeling Down, Look Up by Mike Buchanan. And it's got verses, it's got stories, it's even got a place to make notes. It's fantastic. You'll thank me later.
Welcome back, fans. As the gentleman and I have been talking about, we wanted to make this show lighter this week. And so with that in mind, I've actually asked JP to lead this portion off with an impression. Jody?
Yeah, well, Mike, when we talked about this, I said the first thing that came to mind is this scene from a movie. And I won't even tell you what the movie is. You'll just have to guess. It'll be fairly obvious. No, I will tell you. It was from Forrest Gump. And there's a scene in Forrest Gump where he goes to visit Lieutenant Dan in New York for New Year's. And Lieutenant Dan says, "Have you found Jesus, Gump?" And Forrest Gump says, "Well, I didn't know I was supposed to be looking for him, Lieutenant Dan." That's the best I got, man.
Hey, man. That's Oscar award-winning performance there.
I think they've already given out all the Oscars for that movie.
Retro.
Yeah, right. But yeah, it's interesting because as we were talking about Finding Tomorrow and what we're going to be talking about here, and the reason that came to mind is that everybody thinks that they have to go find Jesus, like he's hiding somewhere, or like he's this Easter egg in a video game or something that you have to, you hit up, up, down, down, left, right, BA, and it gives you a cheat code to find Jesus or something. And that's not the case at all. In fact, Mike, you were explaining it's kind of the opposite, isn't it?
There are definitely times that it is, for sure. In the Old Testament, especially the children of Israel, when the Lord spoke to them through the prophets and whatnot, almost invariably, the Lord was always speaking to the prophets. Why have you turned your back on me? I didn't move. It's just that his children turned their back on him.
Yeah.
Now, my good friend Jody here has been kind enough, and our friends at Abundant TV have been gracious enough to let him do this, but he's talked about this book here that yours truly wrote.
It's a good book.
And one of the things that I put in there, this is a picture for the writing, but I wrote it and it's called Jesus is Looking for You. The verse is, and when Jesus came to the place, and I apologize for reading this ahead of time, and when Jesus came to the place, he looked up and saw him and said to him, "Zacchaeus, make haste and come down, for today I must stay at your house." Luke 19, verse 5. Have you ever felt unnoticed, like you weren't wanted, or maybe worse, outright hated? Our friend Zacchaeus did. He was a tax collector, the worst type of person in the eyes of the Jews. He was short, and no one in the crowd was about to move for him to see Jesus. However, Jesus wanted to see him. Years before, Jesus made sure a seed was planted there so a tree would grow right where Zach would need something to climb. Funny thing about the story, Luke says Jesus looked up. I'm about 99% sure for the first time everyone looked up to see Zacchaeus. They didn't like Jesus noticing him. Jesus didn't care. In another place, Jesus talks about a shepherd leaving the 99 sheep. He had to look for the lost one. Jesus is the shepherd. Zacchaeus was the lost sheep climbing a tree, hoping to see the shepherd. I was a lost sheep. You, brother or sister, were a lost sheep. Jody was a lost sheep. That's not in the book, by the way. Trust me. This is the important part. That's not in the book. Okay, seriously. Trust me. Jesus is always looking for one more sheep.
Yep. We don't have to go find him. He's finding us. And I know that there are others that could say, well, there are other fables that say that you have to seek out and seek and ye shall find. And that's true. And maybe this is a situation where we're wandering around in the dark seeking something. And Jesus is leading us right back to him. And he's seeking us. We may not even know what we're looking for. But
No.
he knows who he's looking for. He's looking for you. And if you haven't found Jesus, if you haven't come to know Jesus as your Savior, know this: whether you know him or not, he knows you. He knows you personally. He loves you personally. That's not a collective you, Mike. That's not a plural you. He loves you individually. He loved me, the gentleman Jody Powell, when I wasn't such a gentleman. He loved me anyway.
There were times when I was mad and I wasn't a scientist, but that's another story for another day. Romans 5 tells us that by sin, by one man, woman, depending on how you want to split that, but by one person, sin entered the world. And by that same token, death entered the world. And so by that one act, we say it was Adam and Eve. Could have been me. Could have been Hitler. Could have been Mother Teresa. Whoever it was brought sin, brought death into the world. That would have been enough for Jesus. If everybody else in the whole flipping world, flaming history, could have been perfect. Once that sin was made, Jesus had to come.
Yep.
So the bright side here is Jesus looking for you. We talked about the Mideast a couple of weeks back.
Mm-hmm.
In Iran, and a lot of Muslim companies, and I know my time is running out, but in so many places, especially in the Middle East, they are having dreams of Jesus literally coming into their bedrooms or wherever they're at. And he's telling them straight up, I am Jesus the Messiah. And people are coming to him by the millions.
Yep.
He's looking for you. Come to him. Pray and receive him as your Lord and Savior.
It will be the most amazing experience that you will ever have. It will also be the most difficult experience you will ever have, because we, in our current condition as broken people, we fail him. I fail him every day. And it's hard. It's hard not to be able to live up, but we can look up. And that's where we find him and he finds us. And fans, it's like Mike always says,
don't watch out, look up, and take his healing and his concern for you as you find your tomorrow.
And that's how you find tomorrow. And when you find a tomorrow that has Jesus in your life, it's so much better than where you were today. And that's what we pray for you. Well, fans, that's all the time we have for Falls Count Anywhere. Mike, as always, my friend, thank you for joining us and carrying us through and delivering a powerful, powerful message from your book. Go find it on Amazon, folks. Feeling Down, Look Up by Mike Buchanan. Search for it, find it, buy it, read it. It's a good book. Coming up on Abundant TV right now, Chris Whaley, Jeff Dixon, The Clash. Stay tuned. If you feel led to help those that have been impacted by Hurricane Helene, go to redcross.org and give today. Thank you. God bless.